When it comes to writing numbers on fix and flip, it's really not that difficult. All you need to know is some key terms and how to plug it into this performer that I'm going to be sharing with you. Step one, you find a deal where you know you're buying it at a discount. So let's say, for example, you're buying it for $500,000. You're renovating it for $100,000, and the property is worth $1 million once it's all said and done. That's the ARV. So the ARV is $1 million, the renovation's $100, and the purchase price is $500. So what you want to do is take that $600,000 number, divide it by the $1 million, and you end up at 60%. So what you're doing is you're buying this 60 cents on the dollar with a 40% margin of safety. That's your profit there. So in this particular situation with the ARV being $1 million, the maximum I would advise you to pay for this particular property is gonna be $650,000, because $650,000 plus $100,000 is $750,000. You divide that $750,000 by $1 million, 75 cents on the dollar with a 25% margin of safety. If you stick to that rule more times than not, you will be relatively safe. For scenarios where you can get in and out of the project in 3 to 9 months, that 75 cents on the dollar rule really does work. So now that you got that out of the way, the very simple fundamentals, let's dive into the story of a fix and flip. You're buying a property, and when you buy a property, you're typically taking out a loan. Typically, a bridge lender will give you up to 90% of the total purchase price and 100% of the project's rehab. On a $650,000 purchase, the lender is gonna lend you 90% of that project, right? Of the purchase price. So you're gonna have to bring 10% because the lender will give you 90, right? So you have to bring $65,000 as a down payment. The lender will give you 100% of the project's construction budget. It's a $100,000 construction budget. So you don't need to bring any additional money to do the construction. You just need that $65,000. There are closing costs associated with getting a deal closed, whether it be title, legal fees, appraisals. You might have to pay the lender points, origination fees, right? So you have to calculate that all into your total cash to close. You take all those closing costs and you take your down payment, and typically that's what you're gonna need to bring to the closing table in order to actually purchase the property. Now that you own this property, you're spending all this money renovating, you got your crew working, you're gonna have to pay monthly payments to the lender. There's interest. You have to pay 1% a month on the total outstanding loan amount. And in this particular situation, it's roughly $585,000 that they'll lend you towards the purchase and $100,000 on the construction. So you're gonna have to pay roughly $685,000, 12% interest over the course of a year on that $685,000. So you're gonna have to spend roughly $6,800 a month so that you're making sure you actually pay your lender on time and they don't foreclose on you. If this is a 6-month project where you think you could be in and out, you better make sure you have cash put aside to make those ongoing interest payments, the holding cost associated with getting this project done. The second thing you want to note is that the lender isn't going to give you 100% of the construction budget day one. They want to see good faith, you actually have skin in the game, and that you get the project started with your own cash. So what you're going to need is at least, 10 to 20% of the total project's renovation budget in hand up front. So you're going to spend, let's just say, 20 grand to get that project done initially out of pocket. And what the lender will do is they'll go out and inspect the property and they'll give you what's called a draw, reimburse you for that 20 grand you spent. Now that you have that 20 grand in pocket, you could do the next $20,000 worth of work. Now you're at 40. What the lender will do is they'll go out and check out the properties, make sure you've done the work, and give you the draw, another 20,000 until you have done this project. Now you've completely finished this project. Congratulations. You have to sell the property. So what's involved with selling a property? You probably want to hire a real estate agent, pay real estate commissions. You also have to pay transfer taxes. You also have to pay your attorney legal fees. And there's a set of costs that are associated with actually selling the property. Remember, once you sell the property, you got an additional set of closing costs, but you also have to pay back the first lender that gave you the bridge loan, and then anything after that is pure profit. That's the story of a fix and flip opportunity. Now, how do you quantify how much cash you actually need and how much profit you're actually going to make in a really easy way that's not going to have you on a spreadsheet for the next 10 years? So let's dive into that right now. And I made it so easy for you, you could literally do it under 5 minutes. All right, let's dive right into it. And I will share you this spreadsheet that you could use at your own convenience. First things first, when you look at one of these, do not get overwhelmed. All you need to know and understand are the blue cells, because all the formulas to calculate everything are done on the cells that are black. So let's go ahead and start plugging these numbers away so you understand exactly how to plug this out and decide whether or not you want to buy it, make sure it's a good deal, or don't buy it. It might be a complete disaster. So let's run the numbers. $1 million project. We said that the renovation budget was $100,000. You're buying it, let's say, for $650,000. We said that this project might take 6 months to renovate and then fully sell. So we put 6 months of holding. The annual taxes, you just got to find out what the annual taxes are for the property and then punch that number in. So in this particular situation, it might be $12,000. You got to find out what the annual insurance is going to be, might be $5,000. Your bridge lender, he will tell you what the interest rate is. You plug that in there and it'll tell you. I put in the common practice numbers here for you guys before we share, but 75% of the total ARV is what they're willing to lend you, the total loan amount. And then in this situation, they're only willing to lend you up to 90% of the total purchase price. You will find this out when you talk to your title company. You're gonna talk to the lender, and they're gonna have specific requirements of appraisers that you're gonna have to work with. The appraisal might cost $500, it might cost $700, it might cost $1,500. But typically, these terms are somewhat negotiable. But if you don't have a really good standing with lenders and title companies, you're probably stuck at what they're trying to charge. So let's run the numbers here. $500 for an appraisal. It might be more, might be less. Title fees. Commissions, if you're paying buyer's agent commissions, if you're paying a lender's legal fees, or you actually have an attorney, take the sum total of that, drop that in here. So I put $3,000 here. And then you're also going to typically get charged points, origination fees. And remember, this is all negotiable. What this will tell you is how much cash you need to bring to the table. Now let's go into the sale scenario here. And this includes all of the interest that you're gonna have to bring to the table. All the taxes you're gonna have to pay, all the insurance you're gonna have to pay. So just worry about plugging in the numbers the right way. So in this situation, these are blue cells, so make sure you fill them out. Let's just drop 5% for now. Transfer taxes, something that you wanna ask your title company in your local area. What are the transfer taxes when I sell this property? In my area, it's about 1%, so I dropped it here. And then again, on the back end, what are the legal fees when you hire an attorney to help represent you? But typically what I'm paying is about $1,500, so I'm just gonna drop that there. So it adds up the total closing costs. So the cash required here is about $127,000 for a 6-month project. And if I just go here and increase that timeline to 9 months, you see how it increased to $148,000? And then let's look at the net profit of the deal. How much am I gonna profit? It shows that you're making $124,000 on this project. So the ROI, the return on investment, is about 97%. And if you annualize it, because it's a 6-month project, if you did this twice over a 12-month period, it's 194% on your money. Guys, if you get any value out of this video, please comment, like, subscribe, and check the description where you can check out the spreadsheet and use it for yourself to decide whether it's a deal or a disaster before you buy. I'll catch you guys later.